Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Lox Def, and I'm back here for episode 158. And we're back here solo. If you're new to the channel, I need y'all to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Um, share the content, if you like it, if you know somebody that's interested in it, if you want to join the conversation, leave a comment, right? But subscribe and like and help the channel to grow a little bit. Check us out on YouTube Shorts. Check us also out on Facebook and also Instagram and Twitter. Sometimes Twitter be playing around. But how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? So I'm back with another episode, and I ain't gonna lie, man, it was hard to kind of record this week, just because of like the flow of information and the flow of like what's happening. And then I was like, you know what? No, we're gonna spend quite a bit today talking about the Olympics, because that is the biggest thing that's going on, and there's a lot of political stuff going on. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the beginning here, just to brush over some controversies that's been happening. But yeah, then we're gonna talk about the Olympics, and then I did find some things to kind of react to, a TV show or two to talk about, but then also just some headlines and that have to do with music and just other things that's kind of I'm seeing on social media. So let's get started, man. Let's get started. So, so I ain't gonna hold you, man. I really do. This is not a political podcast, so I do, for the most part, I do avoid talking about politics, because for real, a lot of times people talk about politics and they honestly don't know much about it, right? And when I say that is they are kind of like cherry pickers of information. Because here's the thing. You literally have to watch the regular like news to know about politics, because that's what the news is primarily there for. So I used to write for a newspaper, and when I was in college, and it was called the Fourth Estate, right? So and the reason why it was named that, and the backstory is, journalism started because it was to be like a watchdog for politicians, right? So like it's what holds people accountable. So they call it the Fourth Estate, almost as if journalism is like the fourth branch of government, right? And this is before, obviously, like this is when they probably journalists probably weren't getting paid anything. There wasn't a lot of money in journalism, but it was like, all right, we're gonna put these stories out because we need the public to know what's going on in terms of politics, and we also need somebody to kind of hold them accountable. So only and I'm gonna tell you this, only a person that watches the news regularly, and I'm talking about major networks, and I don't care, and obviously they all have some type of bias or slant, but like somebody that consumes that stuff on a daily basis, those are the only people that truly know about politics, because that's what it's there for. It's there to give you information and things like that. I personally, I don't watch the news. Now I do chime in when certain things are happening, and I tap in, and I also watch programs that kind of try to curate certain things. I watch Indisputable on YouTube, and that's with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, and he, a lot of times, he has like debates with people. That's one of his segments. He has debates with people, and it's about like a lot of times it's political stuff. So like I'm getting like a curated version of the topics and the issues, but the everyday person does not really follow politics. So like when people get online and they start talking crazy about politics, or they start to just voice anything, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Now, I talked about Kamala Harris entering the race. And to be honest, I really thought I was being pretty, just kind of talking about just a reaction of like her entering the race, and then like just the dynamic and how society is going to be looking at this election, and just certain things like, when Trump turned down the debate. Now people are talking about, oh well, because it was supposed to be with Biden. Okay, whatever. And just, just some commentary. Like I never sat here and endorsed Kamala Harris. I never sat here and endorsed Donald Trump. But it's funny just when you make content that's has anything political in it, yo, people will take your words and like they run with them. Like they run with them. And I'm like, yo, you would swear that I was like really out here on the campaign trail for some of these candidates. And I barely said anything. And like the it invites the crazies. Like it invites the crazies. And so the biggest thing that we're hearing now, so now Kamala's in the race, right? And like I made some comments, right? Because I referred to her as a black woman, and now that what do you know? That's the controversy. And I even had people in my comment section talking about, oh, she ain't a black woman. And surprisingly enough, these weren't black people. Like some, eventually it trickled down. There would be some brothers and sisters that was saying some stuff like, oh, she's not black. But the first people that was talking about she's not a black woman. Well, if she's a black woman, then I'm a black woman. It was white people. And it was like, it was really strange to me because I was like, at the end of the day, why do y'all care if she's black or not? Like why would white Americans care if Kamala Harris is black or not, or if black people, black platforms are talking about whether or not she's black, right? Like why does that matter? And so it was so now that's the controversy, and that's the topic of discussion. Everybody's talking about like, well, is she black? Is she not black? Right? When I look at her, right? So the way they break it down, right? They say that her mother is Indian, right? Hindu, like Indian, right? Southern India, right? And I've seen like she did a video with Mindy Kaling and talking about that. And then I'm hearing that her dad is Jamaican. Now he might have some Irish in him, whatever, but he's Jamaican, right? And she might have grew up or she might have been raised in certain areas, whatever. But like Jamaican, right, is we look at that as black, right? Of course, there are, I mean, you could be any other ethnicity and live in Jamaica, but like this, her dad is a black man. That's what I see it to be. And then she has a mother that's Indian, and they keep talking about, oh well, she presented herself as an Indian American, and she was Indian, she was Indian. Now she's black. Now she's black, and I'm like thinking, well. Don't she got like? Cause she's not. That's not a married name that she's using. She's using her dad's last name, right? Yeah. Her name, her birth name is Kamala Devi Harris, right? Her father's name, let's see, her father, Donald Harris. Let's look at Donald Harris, Jamaican American economist. So he's a professor. Like what's I don't get what the controversy is, right? So everybody is like, and that's the thing, man. When you are, when you lighter complected, people always gonna have something to say. People always gonna try to pull your black card. Now, here's the thing. I understand how identity politics can be negative, like how it can be bad, like when you just are voting for somebody because of their race, right? That's no better than, you know, well, granted, most candidates are white, whatever, but like if there was like a pro-white platform and somebody and people were voting for that, people would probably be like, yo, that's kind of wild that you're doing that. But however, it's not the same effect when we're talking about minorities because we still only make up a small portion of the pie, right? So black people make up 13% of the population. So it's still only a small portion of the pie. But my thing is, whether she's black or not, I think that's black people's business to worry about. That's not for white people to be talking about and chiming in on. And it's only gonna be a small slice of the pie. But you know, when we talk about like what does make you black, right? So obviously it is like your parents, right? Like your heritage and your culture and your ancestry, but also yeah, it's like culturally, are you black or do you live as a black person? And that's like based on like the way you it's based on a lot of different things. It's based on, probably the foods that you eat, the way that you present yourself, the way that you maybe wear your hair. It could be culture, could be the people that you associate with on a daily basis. Kamala Harris, right? She went to a black college, HBCU, so that doesn't make you black, but again, and then she joined a sorority. She's an AKA, so like, and also that's something that also doesn't make you black, but at the same time, she was actively living a black experience in various parts of her life. Now, the problem is when you are multiracial, people always got to put you in a box, right? So like people, I think that people what they're mad about, they're like, all right, well, don't put her in the black box, like put her in some like multicultural box. Well, that's fine, but the thing is though, when you are multicultural and like you have strong ties to those different cultures, yeah, some in certain rooms they're gonna call you this, in other rooms they're gonna call you this. So like, yeah, if they talked about her being an Indian American senator or Indian American politician, that is partially true, right? Because her mother is Indian, and that's probably something that like the media more so pulled out of. Like it wasn't something that she just was like, all right, yeah, tell them I'm Indian American. Like why don't we give put some more onus on the media and how she was depicted, what they chose to depict her as. And it's like, if you're a person that does have Indian heritage, are you going to correct everybody and say, no, no, I'm not just Indian, I'm Indian black? No, like they honor and they kind of giving you homage for that. So it's like, all right, let's acknowledge that. But like, all right, when I'm in this room, people look at me as a black person. So, and that is the conflict there, because again, when you're multiracial, people make you choose. People make you pick sides, right? So I'm Puerto Rican and I'm black, but I think in most instances people just see me as a black man, right? A light-skinned black man. Sometimes people look at me, they think I'm racially ambiguous, right? But I live my life as a black man culturally. I live as a black person, right? My father is a depiction of a black man. Like that's who raised me. A black man raised me, right? I don't have no absent father story or anything like that. Like my family, the food that I eat, I don't, my friend groups, everything, the music I listen to, the literature that I read, the media that I consume, even the platform that I put out for this. And that's why it was wild, because when these white people was in my comment section talking about this and this and whatever, and they said race baiting, and I'm like, I ain't race baiting nothing. This is a black platform. First and foremost, this is a black platform. And you don't, because anybody could watch it, but at the same time, don't say I'm race baiting, right? Because this is not just something like this is I make this for black people. This is for us. This ain't necessarily for everybody in terms of uh needing to relate. Can you be entertained by it? Can you be informed by some of the things I say? Sure. But like, my audience is probably 90% black people, you know what I'm saying? So I just was just it was just weird. It was just weird, like, and that's where we're kind of going now. Donald Trump is kind of playing into it, saying like, "Oh, I knew her to be black. I thought she was Indian. Now she's black. Now she's black." And I really don't like how he talks, yo. Like, in the sense of, it's cringe a little bit, and it's like it's kind of aggressive. It's like, what else do you want to say on that? But is she black? Yeah, she's black. She black to me. You know what I'm saying? Is if I would vote for her, would that be the only reason? No, that wouldn't be the only reason. But you can see it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious how she's being treated in certain rooms, in certain circles, by certain platforms. It's obvious she's being treated a certain way, and it's hard to like ignore, like, yeah, well, it's probably because of this or that, right? So I don't know. We'll get into that, and it's just a wild thing. It's just a wild thing. I was gonna talk a little bit about politics being a regional thing, but I think we'll get into that another time, because I just have I think people need to realize that we are really like even we are the United States of America. Sometimes it feels like we're the divided states of America, but like we got to realize that like our identity when it comes to political identity is really shaped based on our regions and where we come from and things like that. So like a Republican in Michigan is different than a Republican in Pennsylvania, or a Democrat in Pennsylvania is different than a Democrat in California or New York. You know what I'm saying? So and how we view things, because we see where the people, wherever you live, you see a certain type of people all the time, and you hear their beliefs and you hear their views and you see how your local governments are being shaped, and you say, oh, okay, but like that might not be the case in another state. But we'll get into that nuance at a later date when we got a little bit more time to really dig into it. But like, I just think like people need to realize that the reason why people say certain things about politics is really based on where they're from, right? It's based on that's what they learned a certain ideology stands for, right? Versus another ideology. So but yeah, man. So that's what we're gonna be hearing. All the ads are gonna be coming out, and it's about to get crazy. So hopefully they get a debate going in September or whenever. Because I would like to hear, and I would like to hear her platform. I would actually like to, what is his platform other than, because there's certain things I don't like. The immunity stuff, I don't like that. And when it comes to police, that's one of the main things I don't like. He might actually have some things I do like, kind of lean towards, but that immunity thing might could be a deal breaker for me. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's move on. All right, let's talk about the Olympics now. So the Olympics. So this is the 2024 Olympics. So this is the 2024 Summer Olympics, right? And so like what people forget is that um the 2020 Olympics, right? It's branded as the 2020 Olympics, but it actually happened in 2021, because remember that was the pandemic. And it wasn't until 2021 that it felt like more people were outside. And so to me and to probably a lot of people, the 2020 Olympics was like a wash. Like it's like, there were some big stories that came from it, and like it's stuff that we've even talked about. Like this platform existed when the last Olympics was around. And that was like around the time like Sha'Carri Richardson was like she was going through her controversy where she got disqualified for using marijuana and things like that. So like but by and large, I think the 2020 Olympics was a wash for a lot of people. People didn't really get into it. That's when Simone Biles kind of went through her own mental dilemma. You know what I'm saying? So she was dealing with some anxiety and things like that. She kind of checked out, and probably that was probably like the effects and remnants of the pandemic. It probably had a toll on her, and I think it probably had a toll on a lot of athletes, because these athletes are on a certain schedule, right? They're on these 4-year schedules, and like to kind of have to overextend yourself into another and have the games bleed into another year, and then it takes away from your training for the next Olympics, or even qualify, all that type of stuff. Like it probably affected a lot of people. So um the 2020 Olympics was probably a wash to a lot of people. And it's one of those things where it's like I'll watch it if I have access to it. I'll watch it if I'm kind of interested. Well, this year I'm interested. My son is 10 years old now. So his last one, he was a little bit younger, still wouldn't really understand. He's like into sports now. Like he's really into basketball and things like that. He's into all these other sports. And so I'm into it. And I would say that yo, back in the day, the Olympics was something, it just came on NBC. We had regular cable, so it came on like any network that was associated with NBC. So NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, the Olympics was coming on. USA, Bravo. I think there might be another one that where like you would see these events. That's how it's evolved, right? And now everything is on Peacock, right? So real quick, because I'm gonna address this, I'm gonna forget about it. Remember last year, or over this past year, Simone Biles, right? Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens, it was like controversy, right? And people were saying like when he said that he didn't know who she was at first, and people were like, "Oh, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way." I'm gonna tell you right now, right? If you don't got Peacock, right? If you don't have the service or you don't have a way to watch it, it is easy as hell to not be aware of any Olympian, right? Like you have to watch the Olympics to know who these people are. I know Simone Biles, like she had a lot of records and gold medals and things like that. But like most men, unless they're watching Olympics, they like female gymnasts aren't that recognizable. So it is believable to me that he might not have caught the Olympics that first run that she was going in 2016. Like he was a young boy, he was in college, probably ain't had no cake. You know what I'm saying? Like he probably wasn't checking for it. Probably was worried about making his college football team. You know what I'm saying? He had summer practices, all that type of stuff. Like he probably was very preoccupied to where the Olympics didn't matter. And like that's the case for a lot of people. Sometimes it don't matter to people. So like when people assume like, oh, he had to know, I believe it because if I wouldn't have got Peacock this year, like, and if I wouldn't have bit the bullet and started the service, there's a bunch of athletes that now I know their name that I would not have known prior, right? So speaking of though, so I'm gonna give Jonathan Owens, I'm shooting you some bail, and I believe you. I believe that you did not know who Simone Biles was when you first met her. You know what I'm saying? Sure, like all once you follow her on Instagram or whatever, it's probably pretty obvious. But like off the first initial meet, I could see you not necessarily recognizing her. I can understand that. But anyway, the Olympics are in full swing. And speaking of Simone Biles, this is her redemption tour, right? She is on top of the world again, and she's basically swept all the major events that she does, right? She is the all around champion. The USA they won their team event in female gymnastics. There's a lot of things going on, and it's a lot of double events, and she's back on top. Speaking of, I didn't know that. All right, so she couldn't compete in the 2020 Olympics, but her teammate Suni Lee, right, was the all around Olympic champion, right, in 2020. So like I'm like looking, I'm like I never heard of her in my life. I never seen her before. I was like, oh, who's this little, this cute young Asian woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, who is that? Well, I never heard of her, but apparently she was the Olympic champion 4 years ago. Apparently she was the Olympic champion 4 years ago. And like so again, these people are not as recognizable as we think. But yeah, so like she won the gold in the all around event. And Suni Lee, who won it in 2020, her teammate was third, right? And then they had this Brazilian girl, Rebecca. I don't know how to say her last name, but Rebecca, she was second, and she was killing it. She was killing it, yo. Gymnastics is just an amazing sport to watch just because it's literally things that like, yo, I felt like that you feel like are humanly impossible. And Simone Biles, she be doing these flips and these stunts and these tricks, like she does it, these routines, she does it so effortlessly. And it's stuff that nobody in the world can do. Like literally nobody in the world can do like half of the moves and half the routines that she could do, and it is dope to see. It's dope to see. So yeah, so gymnastics, we back on top in terms of women. Um, man, yo, swimming, like we felt like America fell off, man. Like no Phelps had been gone for like two Olympics, right? So like he wasn't in 20 because he's old, and not because he ain't he's just old. Like you got to retire, but he was in like three different Olympics, and I believe he was in 2016. I'm pretty sure. But Ryan Lochte is not a swimmer no more. So like I feel like as Americans, we kind of fell off. Like our swimming, I remember, was it Ryan Pearsall or Adam Pearsall? Like we had some like really good American swimmers, And not that we don't have good American swimmers now, but like they just don't have the names. We don't have the names because it feels like American swimming has fell off. We got some girls that are still doing their thing. Katie Ledecky is doing her thing, and I was fascinated by swimming because my son is a swimmer now, and like realizing how fast these people are going is incredible. Like it's they're doing some stuff that's like really impossible. And then like just the fact that the some of the events that there are. So so in pools where kids swim in competitions, right? Like my son, the pool is about 25 meters, right? So like and certain age gaps in certain age groups you only swim 25. So it's one down, one time down. Well, and then like when you get older, like next year, my son will start swimming 50s. So that's like is back and forth, right? So 50 is like the smallest. That's like I mean, in the Olympic size pools, it's 50 down. It's 50 meters down. So the quickest event is the 50 meters, and that's like a sprint. That's like basically like the 100-meter dash in track, right? So that event was crazy. Like seeing how fast those guys go and like comparing it to like a little kid, it's like, yo, these people are like lapping these kids. Like, they can go all these meters in like seconds and it might take a small kid like mad long to do it. But it's interesting. But I noticed that like it feels like we kind of fell off. Our country fell off in the swimming. Basketball, that's pretty much a guarantee. Track and field, we already won a relay, and we looking good, man. Like we looking good. Sha'Carri Richardson, man, she's not playing with y'all this year. And I know, we were vocal about her. I was vocal about what happened in the decision, and it wasn't even, and we're not here to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson and what she did, but it was more so um it wasn't even about it was what she did was probably not responsible, right? Smoking and things like that. But it was like the weird justification of it because it was like, yo, that was something that she could have avoided. We could make up all the excuses, whatever. But either way, she brushing all that aside, right? She probably now she only smoked during the off season. And she's on top, man, and she's coming for it. She's and like I said, our girls already won a gold. So the track events, once they start really getting going, I'm gonna be tuned in. But Peacock is the way to go, right? That is like the number one way to watch the Olympics. You could replay like almost everything back. You can pick by the sport, right? So that's been a cool thing because me and my son, we've been watching some highlights and watching watching the Olympics a little bit. And we're kind of today what we did was we kind of went through just different sports that I don't even like, that I don't even really think I've ever watched the events or didn't even really know what it was. Like handball. I didn't know what handball was. I thought handball was like kind of like what we used to call the game suicide, where like wall ball, like whatever. I thought that was handball. Like, no, handball is like water polo, but like on land. And like, yo, that game is intense, yo. That game is intense. We seen sailing, and it looked like they was parasailing, but we didn't know, like we couldn't understand like what was propelling this little sailboat, like because it wasn't even a boat. It was like it looked like they was on a boogie board, and that it looked like there must have been some type of motor or something like that. And like they sailing, and that thing is taking them all off course and things like that. But it's just wondering like how the hell do you get involved in sailing? Like how is that a sport? How is that an Olympic sport? Where do you sign up for that? Do you have to live in like a beach town to even be exposed to something like that? Because I live in a landlocked state like Pennsylvania. So it's like we travel to go to our beaches. I mean, Delaware is probably the closest, Delaware, Maryland, right? We travel to go to our beaches, but at the same time, it's like how do you get involved in these sports, whatever? So we were seeing some cool stuff. Diving is always a cool event. Like my favorite events are what are your favorite events at watching Olympics? I like watching track. I like watching swimming, basketball. I like watching I do like watching diving. Like diving is dope, bro. Diving is so dope. Like the way, like the flips that they do, the precision that they do, it's amazing. Like what they're capable of. Um, Gymnastics, of course, whether it's men or women, right? Because the men, it's a different. Like, and I learned, it's really a different sport. Like the men one they do completely different events, like completely different events. There might be one event that's the same, and that's like the vault. um but everything else is pretty different in terms of gymnastics from male to female. And it's just is so that's another event I like to watch. Other than that, I want to see what like a decathlon looks like. I didn't know that trampoline. They have some event called trampoline. Like I didn't know jumping on the trampoline. I don't know what they're doing. We didn't get to watch those highlights, but like I don't know what they're doing in trampoline. Like why is that a thing? Now they have 3-on-3 basketball. So brothers, I know there's a lot of dudes that got hoop dreams and stuff like that. And yo, why, how do you get involved in that? I seen it was Jimmer Fredette. Jimmer Fredette was like the star player, and I'm like, oh snap! I remember Jimmer Fredette, man. Jimmer Fredette was averaging like 28 points in college his senior year. You know what I'm saying? And then just kind of washed away as a pro. But yeah, so they have 3-on-3 basketball. They're like, it's dope that they have skateboarding. It's dope because, skateboarding has been an international sport for a long time. I used to be big into watching skateboarding and BMX. Yeah, they have BMX racing, but I think they also have BMX like doing like tricks and stuff like that. Freestyle BMX. So yeah, there's a lot of cool events, and I don't know, I think it's dope, man. But one thing I always believe this to be true, because like, you learn certain things as a kid, or you hear certain things and you kind of just roll with that being the truth to you, right? So growing up, I didn't even think that Olympians really got paid for their sports. Now, granted, I was always under the impression that like, yeah, Olympians, they get sponsorships, and that's how they like earn a living. I mean, you get on a Wheaties box, you get in the Gatorade commercial, you get, you're a Nike athlete, Adidas, whatever it is, right? Like that's how you're making your money. And then yeah, you might make some money on the events that you do throughout the year, right? Because yeah, there are like a lot of track events that actually happen throughout the year. And then they make some money. But I didn't think you necessarily got I actually thought like when you're Olympian, I kind of believe that you kind of did it for the love. But what's come out though, and maybe we'll put this on the screen, but there's talking about how much Olympic athletes get paid for winning medals. So Olympians do get paid. Now there was it was this was put out there, and I think some people had some weird they had some weird perceptions of it, because there are some sums of money that is really high, and people are saying like, oh, what makes them important? And I'm like, no, 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 I think you guys got it all wrong. Like this payment is from like whatever your home country's Olympic organization, that's who pays them. That's who pays the athletes. It's not the Olympics. The Olympics is not handing you a check for however much money, and they're not discriminating based off of what country it is, right? So it's not about importance. It's about your country. And I think the countries, how much they pay those athletes, I think that has to do with you think about how many athletes qualify from their home country. You know what I mean? How many people are you potentially gonna have to pay out? Because if it's not that many, or if your country is smaller, like you might be willing to pay your athletes a little bit more than what you would pay if you were in a bigger country. So let's look at these different countries and what they pay. So there's a payout again. Like if you win a certain medal, it's a payout. So the US, right? If you're a US Olympian, you get $37,500 if you win a gold. So if you think about track, right? 9 seconds. Like you're training to 9 seconds. So 9 seconds is, and it's, I'm not gonna say it's 9 seconds worth of work, but like for real, 9 seconds, a couple series of 9 seconds, and you're getting $37,000, right? Silver is 22,500, right? 23,500, and then a bronze is 15,000. So, okay. That I'm like, okay, that's not too bad, whatever. But then we start going to other countries, and I was like, oh, okay. So Germany is a little less than us. So then I think I was confident. I was like, okay, so yeah, other countries ain't paying as much as us. So Germany, a gold you get about 22,000, a silver you get 16,400 dollars. For a bronze you get 10,000, almost $11,000. But France was like, oh no, we gonna up that on y'all. For France, a gold medal they get $71,000. Silver medal is 27,000, and then bronze is 16,000. All right, so a little bit more than US on each level, pretty much. Yeah, on each level. So that's France. That's the home country. Maybe they got a couple extra dollars. Check this out. Italy. If you win a gold, you get $197,000. And $197.1. I will say that. So for $100. Silver is $98, $98,000. So almost $99,000. $65,000 for bronze. Spain, they pay a little bit more too. $102,000, almost $103,000. If you get a gold. For silver, they pay almost $53,000, and for bronze medals, they pay almost $33,000. And this was converted to dollars because obviously, if we talk about the euro, it would look different, but they converted it for us, so we don't got to think about that. Wow, Taiwan. Taiwan. Now think about Taiwan though. Taiwan is a little country. It's a little country right next to China. Taiwan, if you win a gold medal, you get $716,000. But think about how many Taiwanese athletes are there, what events are there, right? So they probably don't have as many people to pay out. Uh, for silver, well, this is a big drop off though. This is a big drop off from gold to silver. But silver, you get 250K, and then bronze, you get 179K. So that's a good chunk of change, right? Chunk of change. Singapore, wow. Now Singapore got some money. Wow, this is almost, yeah, it's almost half for that one thing. So Singapore, $730,000 for gold. For silver, $368,000, and then for bronze, $184,000. And then Kazakhstan, uh, oh my God, they are fighting for, they are playing for roofs over their heads. So for gold medal, you get a 3-room apartment. For a silver medal, you get a 2-room apartment. And then for bronze, you get a 1-room apartment. And then Norway, they do it for the love. They do it for the love of the sport. You win a gold, you get nothing. You get $0. You win silver, you get $0. You get bronze, you get $0. And to be honest, I know, and y'all probably thinking like, you crazy, Los. I really thought that's what it was for us. I thought you had to make your money on the back end. Like you had to be a marketable person to make money outside of the Olympics, right? Like you had to be marketable for them to earn to earn some money. Or like, you get paid within that particular sport. Maybe you're endorsing, if you're like if you're in archery, you endorsing a certain brand of bows or something like that, or a certain brand of arrows, or it's all different type of stuff like that. Like, you know, I thought that's what it was, but I thought that was interesting. But this was a cool thing that uh Shay Shay, Uncle Shay Shay and Chad Ochocinco, they decided to chime in, and they said this is what they about to do. If these athletes win gold, they said they about to break some bread for us, right? Because they didn't like these figures either. They didn't like how low some of these numbers were. So let's see what they talking about. How much they trying to pay us? All right. So let's see.
How much are individual gold medals worth in each country by
Yeah.
territory? The U.S. Wait, we only get 37,000?
We should at least 200,000. Hey, no allow. If you win the 100-meter gold, me and Ocho 25,000 apiece.
Bet. You know I don't like to spend no money.
You too, Sha'Carri.
You get that 100.
Nephew, hey, Rye, you win the gold, 25K. No allows train 4 years for 9 seconds.
Noah, we got you. Oh, Sid.
Oh, the hurdle, yeah.
You might as well mail Sid her check now.
Yeah, that's 100K.
We good.
I'll pay 50,000 any American to break a world record. I don't give a damn what the event is.
Hold on.
Out of my pocket.
I got 50. Here go 50,000 right here. Sometimes you need a little motivation, right? I got another 50 right here. We not playing. 37,000. You done bust your ass for 4 years straight to represent our country, and the payout saying thank you for the work you put in is 37 fucking thousand. Come on, man.
That's real. But yeah, man. So yo, that's love. That is love. Ocho and Shannon Sharp, they willing to give people some bread out of their own pocket. Like imagine all the other athletes and celebrities that are, might be willing to kind of chip in and things like that. Because yeah, that is kind of for American athletes because of like because sports mean so much to Americans. You would think that the amount would be a little bit higher, would be a little bit higher, but I thought that was still dope though. I'm like, even just the offer, and that's dope. That's dope. All right, man. So let's get into some stuff, man. So what y'all think, man? How y'all feeling about the Olympics so far? I think last time I checked, let's see, what is the medal count as of now? Medal count. Olympic medal. We had the most medals the last time I seen, but we didn't have the most golds though. So let's see what we got here. Olympic medal count. All right, so we're stuck in fourth place, man. So we have 40. We have the most medals by and large. We had the most medals. We got 43 total medals, right? But we got 9 golds, 18 silver, and then 16 bronze. So man, some of those silvers, man, and again, we lost a lot of swimming events, right, to Australia, and Australia got 2 more golds than us. China was beating people in diving and stuff like that. So what I mean, France had some good swimmers too. They had this one guy named Marchand. He won like 4 golds by himself, right? So, so yeah, we're in the thick of it though. We were in like 7th place though, like earlier this week. So we're in a good place. Who's at the very bottom? The very bottom is Slovakia, and they have 1 medal. Well, there's a couple teams that have just 1 medal, and they have bronze medals. But Slovakia, Portugal, Egypt, Austria, all 4 of those countries have only 1 medal, and it's a bronze. But yeah, the gold medal leaders are China, France, Australia. Australia and France are tied for second, and then we're essentially tied for third with Great Britain. Japan has 8 gold medals. Wow. So wow, interesting stuff, man. I think it's dope. I think it's dope. It's a good time of year, and definitely worth watching this for me, at least this year. And we'll get into it though. We'll get into it next week as more events and more golds happen and more stories kind of develop. You'll hear us react to it here. So, but all right, man, let's get into some stuff though, man. Some other stuff. Let's switch it up. And man, in the world of hip hop, some things have been going on in people's personal lives, right? And one being Cardi B. Cardi B has filed for divorce from Offset. And the reason why this is getting one, I mean, she's a major star, right? Hasn't dropped an album in now 7 years. It's been 7 years, I think, yeah, 28, no, 6 years, 6 years, because it was 2018 she dropped. So it's been 6 years since you dropped the actual album. And she's riding off that wave, man. She's riding off of everything that she did and all the popularity that she gained from that. And she got a husband. She had a husband who, wasn't always the most faithful, and like his transgressions were hitting the airwaves. And I think that's part of it was it's possibly because of how big Cardi B was. So it's like if Cardi B, if you're like one of the most famous entertainers out there, and you got a man that's out here, doing whatever, that's a story. That's something that they can sell. Cardi B had the controversy with Tasha K, where Tasha K was saying some stuff that was not necessarily true, and then she actually won a defamation case. So like Cardi B is like a hot commodity either way. And so like her personal life is also a hot commodity. Like it's a story that sells. So that's why people talking about it. But um yeah, so she's filed for divorce. And I knew they had two kids. I didn't know they had a third kid. I just read a headline that said that Offset is the father of their third child, and that Cardi B is seeking child support for all three. Now, that's not my business. That's not my business. But a lot of people in the comment sections are saying, like, see, like, she don't need no money. She don't need that money. Like, they basically saying like women will put you on child support is not for the kid, it's for the money. I don't know. I don't know what their situation is. Yeah, she's not just like she wasn't just like a celebrity's wife. Like she is a celebrity on her own. So like when two people make a lot of money like that, sometimes I don't think I understand like the reason why they elect to get child support or not to get child support. Like that does seem like something for like almost like the have-nots, so to speak. You know what I mean? That's something for the regular people, whether middle class people, working class people. It's not necessary, and maybe even wealthy people, but like the entertainers and stuff like that. I just don't. Unless you were a regular person and like you dated an entertainer and had a child, obviously we know you probably want to maintain that lifestyle, but like could she probably maintain a certain lifestyle for her children without him? Possibly. Maybe this is the only way, but we don't know this. We don't know the ins and outs of their parenting. Maybe he's not that involved. And so this is like her way of making sure that he's involved in their kid's life, whether even if it's only financially. But yeah, she's seeking child support, and trust and believe when we see them numbers, you gonna hear about it here. You're gonna hear about it here. But um ironic thing about this, right? This divorce is that um Bia was a little bit too early, a little bit too early. Because even the stuff that she was saying in the diss and even leading up to the diss, Cardi B was doing a lot of like, oh, I mean, that's my husband, and don't put my like she was talking about like basically this girl not knowing her business and like why you speaking on my business with my husband. But I think Bia, she obviously she must have felt slighted by Cardi B. I don't think she was just clout chasing. I think she felt slighted. But I think Bia was probably in tune that this was gonna be happening, and maybe she got word that it was happening sooner. But I think they held off, right? Because no other headlines have kind of taking place. Nothing else has kind of taken place in between that little quick little be a beef and this. And for her to file for divorce now, it makes me believe that like she was probably gonna file for divorce when Bia dissed her, but like since she dissed her, she didn't want to give her like ammo or anything like that. She waited, right? Because yeah, that would have been a good part of the diss. You could have flipped it to where like, oh yeah, your man left you and filed for divorce because you didn't do this or this and that, or you had to file for divorce because this and this and that. So I don't know. I think Bia was a little bit too early on that, or again, it was like a PR stunt where Cardi B's team was like, no, no, no. Now that this girl's trying to diss her, we gotta push that divorce announcement back a little bit. And lo and behold, what little 2 months later, we got 2 months later we got Cardi B filed for divorce from Offset. All right. Next thing. What else we got? What else we got? Also in the music world. Oh, Coi Leray. She speaks on it's funny. I think this is just funny a little bit. So what did she say? She says Coi Leray speaks on skinny being the new trend after girls who got BBLs want to go back to their natural body. And this was it was like who was it? It was like Dream Doll. I think Dream Doll, she was on the interview talking about how like she's basically trying to like reverse the BBL, which I don't know what they got to do because I remember, I mean, there was the generation of BBLs that like was ass shots, and then we had like then it became like a more advanced procedure. But Coi Leray says everybody's skinny now. I thought skinny wasn't it. I got bullied for being skinny for 5 years. What changed your minds? Whatever. So that's the, she, more power to her for kind of jumping out there and saying that. Because it's less like, yo, y'all trying to be like me now. But like it's just funny that like I don't know. Like it's fun, like how this stuff is a trend. Like being skinny or having a BBL is a trend. Like it should just be a choice. Now, granted, that's always been a thing. Now, in the '90s, like before, black people wasn't getting plastic surgery before at the same rate. So, but like I remember in the '90s, boob jobs was like a big thing. Like in like white celebrity, in Hollywood, boob jobs and nose jobs, boob jobs and nose jobs, boob jobs and nose jobs, and then facelifts, and then yeah, then you start hearing about facelifts. Then it was Botox, then it was Botox. Then it's BBLs, BBL, liposuction. Oh yeah, I forgot that liposuction, and then now I guess women are trying to reverse whatever they did, and they want the natural body. But the fact that that's a trend is just wild. It's just wild. It's an interesting phenomenon. And yeah, man, it's funny because the aesthetic of what beauty is, it is like a trendy thing. Like beauty aesthetics are so trendy. And like women of the '90s, like think about the '90s actresses and things like that. They look totally different than actresses today, or like the video vixens back in the day look totally different than the video vixens you know of yesteryear and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Are you feeling this trend of girls trying to get skinny again? Are you guys anti BBL? I don't know. I feel like yeah, if that's what you want to do with your body, then go and do it. If that's one of your insecurities, go ahead and do it. Uh, there was a lot of people that was getting BBLs that didn't probably need the BBL. Like they already had some cake there. They just wanted like bigger cake. But like, like save some for for um the little booty matter girls. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's that on Coi Leray and the BBLs. Did y'all see the Lox Tiny Desk performance? The Lox and their Tiny Desk performance. Do we have that up here? I don't think I have that one up here. I don't have that one up here. But yeah, man. So the Lox, man, they got on Tiny Desk and performing like a bunch of their hits, man. Like We Gonna Make It, Money, Power, Respect, Good Times. Just some bangers, some bangers. And one thing I noticed about what I seen from the clips and things like that, and just the performance is just like, yo, beats today are nothing like the beats of before. Like, yeah, sure, like like some of the beats are nice and they get people going. You got those 808s, you got the big bass. Some of them you got the fast BPMs and things like that. But like back in the day, like even just the '90s, even early 2000s, like the instrumentation that was in on beats is like on another level. So like yeah, the Locks, they can do a Tiny Desk because you can actually play those notes, right? Like when We Gonna Make It comes on, like you can hear like like violins or something like that, like and on the Tiny Desk, like you can hear those notes being played, like, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that would actually work. Like that could work there. And but shout out to them, man. To Tiny Desk, I feel like if you get a Tiny Desk, you made it. Like the industry, the culture is like saying, yo, you made it. Like you're a legend, you deserve it. There have been some Tiny Desk performances that I was like, this person had like 3 hits. Why are they getting a Tiny Desk? But like the Lox, they got a lot of hits, man. They got a lot of cultural classics, I would say, because not everything was necessarily a hit for them. But yeah, man, dope thing to see. And then what else? What else in rap? Oh, let's tune into this. All right. So, all right, we know Kendrick Lamar to be like, the boogeyman, right? Like he's like the biggest, man. He's the biggest rapper out right now, man. Um, Most influential right now. You know what I'm saying? The boogeyman. He's like kind of standing alone on his island, right? Right. He is the man. He is the game right now, right? So, but this is Big Sean speaking on Kendrick Lamar because when we look back at Kendrick Lamar's career though, like he's done a lot to he does a lot of beefing with people to get to elevate himself, right? Which I mean, it's a good strategy. It works. It does work. I mean, if you're successful and you spit in your bars and things like that, like people are going to gravitate towards it and it's gonna help elevate you, right? But Big Sean was one of those people that was kind of like in his crosshairs, but like hearing this, it makes to me, it makes Kendrick look away to me. But let's share this screen, right? Let's share this. But Big Sean was talking to Charlemagne the God, and let's see what they got to say about it, and we'll
Of
check it out.
Kendrick, it made me think of a line Kendrick had in a record that got leaked where he said, "You're finally famous for who you date, not how you rhyme, boy."
Right.
When you heard that bar, did you get any rhymes prepared, and did it have the same reaction that
So finally famous. Big Sean has 3 albums that are titled albums or mixtapes that are titled Finally Famous, right? So the first album was called Finally Famous One. And and one of the things he would always say in his raps is boy. So like that was a direct diss. And this was around the time we started dating Janae Aiko. So like, yes. So let's hear
you had when Lena said that to you?
When I first heard that, I definitely had a whole thing prepared. So let's back this up. So I did a song called No More Interviews, where I'm rapping about people rapping fast and blah blah blah, and people like, oh, you talking about Kendrick? I'm like, well, I'm not talking about anyone specifically. I'm just talking my shit. At the time, there was a lot of motherfuckers rap. I'm surprised no one thought Eminem or I remember Logic was hot at the MGK, all these other rappers that rap fast, and I'm like, this nigga Kendrick don't even rap fast all the time. Like, it's other people who be rapping fast all the time.
Yeah, No More Interviews. When that came out, everybody thought that was a Kendrick Lamar response. Like it was a response to Kendrick Lamar. But then like it went under the rug and people was like, he ain't really say much about him. Like so like that got ignored, right? But then it escalated, right? Like so No More Interviews is what kept this going. So remember, their beef, quote unquote beef, it kind of starts from No More Interviews, but it also starts from the Controversies, right? Big Sean drops a song, Control, and then it becomes known as the Controverse because Kendrick Lamar comes at like 15 different rappers on that. And um people felt like, because he's kind of even coming at Big Sean on the track a little bit. Like, and it felt like it was friendly competition. So then No More Interviews came out, and then people assumed that Big Sean was talking about Kendrick Lamar, and then it escalated into something else, right? So
But I definitely was like not running from or ducking no type smoke at all. Like, so when I heard that there might be, some remnants of something, I did have something prepared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just breaking down the timeline. I remember when I dropped, I decided and bounced back and all this stuff.
that was 2017, y'all. 2017. Damn comes out in 2017, right? So I decided it was crazy. I went to see Big Sean in concert. Like I went to that tour. I decided it was a good album. It came out in February though. February or January. It came out in the beginning of the year. And then if you guys remember 2017, 2017 was crazy in terms of music. One of the better years in music. So in 2017 I decided we get Damn, we get More Life, we get what else did we got 444 in 2017, right? So that was also the album that when no when Wale dropped his album, that was kind of like the start of like Wale's like decline kind of in 2017. But 2017 was, and there's some other albums that come out later in the year, but 2017 was a big year in rap, right? But he kind of gets like his album got overshadowed because when Damn comes out, right? And he comes out with the song Humble, that's like it's like a Big Sean diss, whatever. And like people felt like, oh, he's getting Big Sean out of here. So let's keep going.
And he was dropping his album, Damn. And I can't remember what freestyle. I guess it was the Hard Part 4.
I don't remember.
5 maybe, something like that. And people were like, "Oh, he's talking about Big Sean in there, right?" So I hit up Top Dog first. I'm like, "Yo, who he talking about?" He's just talking to me. He's just throwing a bone out there, right?
Why you just ain't ask Kendrick? Like, why not text Kendrick? Yo, was you talking about me?
Because I didn't think I had his right number. I think I did hit him first, and I'm like, oh, I got Top number because he had just had me come out at his charity event like a year ago or something in Watts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking we like straight. You know what I'm saying? So then, no, it wasn't about you. All right, cool. So the little shit I had, I just was like, let me get out of my head because I'm thinking like it might be something.
So you had a song or a verse?
I had just some ideas, you know what I'm saying? Just to be real with you, like I had some ideas, mapped out. So I get to the point where I'm like, damn, do we got something going on? That's why I had something prepared, right? And then when I run into Dave Free, and he's like, nah, bro, it ain't nothing. Like, it's all love. He said something like that wasn't directly towards you. It was for anyone, Okay, so then Nipsey dies. And I sit on the plane next to Punch, random as hell. We're headed to J. Cole's festival. And he's like, you ever talk to Kendrick? And I'm like, no, I never, I know it ain't shit there, but no, we never really spoke. Then around that time, like that day or maybe the day before that or the week or day within that same time period, that leaked shit happened. It was a leaked verse. And it said what you said.
Yep.
I'm like, damn, nigga, y'all motherfuckers said it wasn't shit and it was something. So you got me looking crazy.
But maybe he prepared something just like the same way you was thinking. He was like, let me get my nukes just in case too.
Right, but the thing is that song came out and he changed that bar, right? So that wasn't on the song anymore. It was a leaked verse. So I had to keep that in mind because I was pissed when I heard it. So then I'm like, okay, he changed that on his own. So he probably came to the conclusion that it was nothing. So then then me and him talk. And I got the text on my phone. And he's like, I might pull the text out and read it.
Let's hear it. Why not?
Oh, so this is me. And then this is him. What up, champ? Yes, we're in great grievance.
That's real.
Wrongly. So in a sense, I don't want to say it. He apologized in a sense for going that far, and for that shit coming out, right? So I wanted to show you that because in a sense he apologized, right? So if Kendrick apologized for that same leak that I heard prematurely, right, that he didn't use, then it leaks fully later, right, and people hear it, and we already discussed it. And he said, appreciate the shout out on a Nipsey song. I already addressed it on the song with Nip. Lack of communication and wrong information for people fueled by the ego was like mixing flames with diesel.
That's what he said to you in the...
No, that's what I said on the song with Nipsey.
Oh, I know, but in the text it sounded like he's kind of said the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I said it in the song. Because in that text he said, yo, my ego, da-da-da. So it's like, when that shit leaks, it's like people are like, oh, you heard what he said about you? I'm like, nigga, I'm not a clout chasing ass nigga, bro. I'm solid and I stand on mine and I'm not about to do something because everyone thinks a certain thing. Like, we already talked about it. And that's what it's been. I ain't really had too much communication with him since then. And, but I just want to I represent a lot of people from my city, from where I come from, fans of mine, who think I didn't stand on my shit, and that's not the case.
That's a big narrative.
That's what I want to clarify. I wasn't being a bitch nigga or like tucking my tail or nothing like that. And if it was real smoke, if it was really something to stand on, I would be full front. I would be there front and center for it, and I would be prepared. You know what I'm saying? But it's not, and people want to make something that is not. So that's something that I never really got a chance to clarify. And to me, it's better to to be about business and to be authentic. And like, if there's literally not a problem there, then I'm not about to feed into no narrative that isn't true, that I know isn't true.
Wow.
Damn, see that's crazy. That's crazy because that is I've even said that like because I am a big Sean fan. Like I've always liked Big Sean. And I always felt like, yo, especially when this beef started with Drake, I was like, yo, man, if because everybody started calling him the boogeyman. They started calling him the boogeyman because of the controversy, but then they made it for years. People made it seem like Kendrick Lamar was bullying Big Sean, bro. And like and kept coming at him and kept coming at him. But then it's like, so that what this tells me is that yo, Kendrick Lamar is a clout chaser. Like Kendrick Lamar is the clout chaser. And I mean we could see what that looks like right now, right? With the Drake stuff, right? But Kendrick Lamar is a clout chaser because if you are saying one thing, if you're saying certain things to me where it's not that, right? And then you don't even it's not like you come out and like clarify anything or you don't like diffuse anything. You just roll with this narrative that you're the boogeyman and that you the best and that can't nobody mess with you and then like you got Big Sean out of here. Like you let that narrative roll and Big Sean is in a tough place because it's like, nigga, you literally apologize to me for things that you said that are perceived to be about me. You apologize to me, right? Your people are saying that it's nothing. Your people are saying like no, 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 like downplaying it, like whatever. But like this whole time, you was making a name. You was making a name and you was building a career off of my back, right? Off of my humiliation, right? And I think that's fucked up. I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy when you really sit there and break that down and you really look and you put Kendrick Lamar's career in a microscope and you're like, yo, yeah, this he only what J. Cole say, right? He only drops, you know what I mean, every once in a couple years, and then like and we wouldn't talk about nothing that he says if it wasn't about beef. Like we wouldn't be talking about his music. Like Big Sean was at one point in time like more popular than Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? But then it was like, and then Big Sean he had his own personal things going on, and then he welcomed, a child into his life and things like that. And it felt like Big Sean couldn't get his career back on track. And the whole time he's just being a solid person and not trying to he can't he's in a tough place because it's like I can't if I expose you I look crazy if I expose you in this manner and cry about it I look crazy whatever. This is probably a perfect time to talk about it because now we can like in totality we can look at Kendrick Lamar's career and be like, oh damn, I mean you are only popular, like you're really popular because of that controversy, right? Um, I mean, this whole Big Sean stuff, whatever, all these the heart part, whatever verses, and you coming at people and you dropping subliminals. You've been dropping subliminals at Drake for years, been wanting him to come outside. Send a quick little thing to J. Cole and Drake, you know what I mean? And then like now you're looking at 2024 and like this is literally the biggest moment of Kendrick Lamar's career. But when you think about it, and all the narrative, because again, it's branding and it's branded as like, oh, he got this culture vulture out of here. But like, really, the branding should be, yo, he is a cloud chasing ass nigga, and he's willing to do anything to elevate himself. It ain't like he ain't no beacon of the culture that's like, oh, I'm saving the culture. No, he ain't saving the culture. He just making a name for himself. You know what I mean? Because he struggles to make a name for himself strictly off of his music. Now, I can't say that fully because yeah, he did win a Pulitzer Prize and you know what I mean, he does have Grammys and things like that, but like that still didn't resonate to necessarily being the biggest rapper though. I mean, J. Cole was still a bigger rapper than him in terms of popularity. Drake, it was still leaps and bounds more popular than him, despite even Drake not having the accolades. I mean, so then it's just weird. It looks away, man. Kendrick Lamar, He looks away, man, to me. I don't know. So I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. But what do y'all think, man? What y'all think about that? And then and yeah, chime in, man. Comment, man. What do you think? What do you think? Is Big Sean, is he out of line for kind of talking about this now? Is it too little, too late? Is he do you think he's still cloud chasing in a way? I don't know. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. And then wrapping this up, man. Wrapping this up. Um, what have y'all been watching on TV? What have y'all been watching on TV, man? TV has been, summertime. I've been, I do the recap and record show with Levi. So we definitely on House of the Dragon. That's about to end. The Bear, I watched like the first episode of the new season, and I'm not judging it yet, but I couldn't. It wasn't what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? It was very artsy that first episode. So we ain't get to watch that yet. So Netflix came back out with worst roommate ever. So I remember talking about this like 2 years ago. Worst roommate 2 years ago. Yeah, maybe about 2 years ago. We talked about worst roommate ever, right? The show. And yo, that show is crazy. That show, it's like a documentary series, and just about different scenarios where like people have a roommate or a roommate situation. I mean, because it don't always be your roommate, but a lot of times roommate situations that just go sour. So the opening episode of season 1 is crazy, right? So you got these two women that decide to like they're friends, they're friends for a long time, and they decide to get a place together. Well, the one lady has a child. Like she end up, having a child, and like they basically are living together. They're not a couple of any type, whatever. But one of them has a kid now, and then the other one doesn't. So they're kind of moving about their business. The protagonist, the main one, she has the child. She gets sick a lot, right? She had like all these like medical issues, I mean, with her back, and she was getting like a lot of surgeries. So like the burden of taking care of her child a lot of times would fall on her roommate, I mean, which was also her best friend. It wasn't just a roommate, but it was her best friend. So her roommate was helping her raise her kid, which that's nice. That's dope. It's commendable. Well, like, and this lady though, like she was getting back surgery. So the lady that was, has a kid, she was getting back surgery. So a lot of times she would be bedridden or immobile. Like she couldn't really even move out and about. So the first foul thing that this person did, the roommate, she on the sneak tip, she filed for custody and put in a child protective services like case against her friend, and was like basically like, oh yeah, she don't really take care of him and this and that, whatever, but like ignoring that like her friend has all these medical issues and like she just needs some help. And so like it was like a weird thing, like the mom had to get like a removed from the household, and it just didn't make no sense because it's like, yo, you're my friend, like why can't you have a conversation with me? But like on the sneak tip, how you gonna try to take my child from me? That alone would have been over. Like we can't, correspond anymore. Like you can't, like, how you gonna try to do that? Well, they kind of make amends, I guess, whatever, and like things kind of go back to normal. Well, the lady had to get like another surgery. I mean, on something on her back, or stuff was like messing up. So then this lady, her roommate, is like taking care of her again, but like she's not properly taking care of her. So she let this woman, this woman had like, surgery. So she had to get it checked. And her wounds, she's letting this friend check her wounds, the same friend that tried to take her child. Well, the friend wasn't really addressing the wounds, and she had all this type of infection, right? And had MRSA, right? Ended up having MRSA. And a lot of people get MRSA in hospitals, right? So it's just, it's a type of staph, right? It's a bacteria. Well, then she found out, then the lady would have these like strange diabetic episodes, right? Like the sick woman, she would have these diabetic episodes. So like this woman she does not have diabetes. She did not have no history of diabetes at all, whatever. But her glucose would plunge, would plunge. and she wouldn't know why. Like she wouldn't know why. And like it was happening so often. Like this lady was frequently in the hospital to the point that people thought that she was hurting herself. People assume that she was hurting herself and they're like, yo, you doing this for attention. Like, why you keep doing this? And she's like, yo, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's happening. And like she would recover and then she would be good. So then they lived in like Utah or something like that. So then something got tipped to like Homeland Security, right? Well, Homeland Security, they and like the FBI and detectives and stuff like that, like they got tipped off by something, right? And apparently in Utah, uh Homeland Security also deals with anything that's could be like any like biochemical warfare or anything like that, anything, any weapon like that, even if it's supposed to be affecting a small one person, um, it has the potential to affect a lot of people. So they're that's their jurisdiction. So they got a tip that somebody was buying a antibiotic resistant version of MRSA, and they call it Versa. So fam, on the dark web, you can buy viruses, bro. Did you know that? Did y'all know that? Like, I know that you could buy crazy stuff on the dark web. Like, people be buying body parts and organs and stuff like that. People be buying people on the dark web. But you can buy infections, my nigga. Like, yo, that's crazy. Like, you can buy infections, fam. So this lady would like, so somebody was buying Versa, right? And they were buying this like insulin, like this illegal type of insulin or whatever, or like insulin that wouldn't, I guess it wouldn't draw no attention or whatever, or wasn't like connected to insurance because nobody was diabetic. Well, come to find out, this lady she was buying all these like sedatives and things like that that would relax her or knock her friend out, and she would stick her with needles of insulin. She would because like insulin, what it does is when your blood sugar is high, insulin helps to regulate that, whatever. But if you're not diabetic, insulin is going to drop your glucose to death levels, right? So yeah, so that's what she was doing. So she didn't know that she was getting pricked up and getting poked with insulin needles because she would like drug her friend, right? So she was drugging her friend with like different sedatives and painkillers and stuff like that. So she was injecting her with insulin, making her go to the hospital, whatever. And then she tried to buy a antibiotic resistant version of MRSA called Versa to basically kill her. And then they end up arresting this lady. They end up arresting the lady that was buying the stuff, and they interrogated her, and like they was asking like, yo, come on, like, and she ended up fessing up. She fessed up to everything. And when they arrested the friend, the main person, she didn't even know what was going on, but her house got raided, like, because they live together. The house got raided, and she was like, what's going on? And they was like, yo, you gotta come with me. And she's thinking that she's in trouble. She's thinking that it's like, what did I do? And then she's like, they're telling her like, yo, your friend did this and this and this. And she's like, no, no, she's defending her. She's defending her roommate, the lady that's doing this stuff to her. Not, lo and behold, she don't know it's her. And then she's like, yo, and then they start telling her, like, they're like, yo, do you think like she was trying, like, they told her, we think she was trying to kill you. And she's like, no way. Like, she couldn't even believe it. Like it was like she was overlooking it. But then like they broke it down to her, and then she realized like, yo, that's why my glucose was dropping. She because like, and they found receipts. The lady was buying insulin, she was buying sedatives, and then she tried to buy the MRSA. And I just think like that's a crazy world that we live in, that like certain things are available to purchase, right? But also, this is what I'm thinking, right? I don't know nothing about the dark web in terms, like, I don't even know how to access it because I don't, and here's the thing, I don't want to access the dark web. Not because no, I don't know. Like I kind of low key, I would kind of want to see what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, what does it look like? Windows 93. Like, you know what I mean, does it like look pixelated and like look like some crazy thing? Or is it like, I don't even know what an interface of the dark web would look like. So I would want to see it, whatever, but I don't have no interest in being on the dark web because one, I feel like that's all police are. Police are just chilling on the dark web, waiting for you to do dumb stuff. Like at this point in time, like that's what they're doing, and that's literally what they did. They just sit there and tracking people buying this, buying that, whatever. Like, certain things might go under the rug, but like you buy a biochemical, you buy something like chemical like that, biochemical, and they're like, whoa, what you about to do with that? Like, cause you could be trying to affect one person, or you could be trying to affect like a mass group of people, and that would be like an act of domestic terrorism. And so, but for the simple fact of like, I know cops just be chilling on the dark web. Why the fuck are y'all on the dark web? Like, what the hell y'all think y'all doing? But like, what kind of person? Like, it's some sick people, man. It's some sick people, and this is a person that was her friend for like 20 years, and she still was on this type of time. So like, man, watch your friends out there. Be careful. They be on people be on some shit, man. People be on some shit. And then real quick, another show on Netflix that I've been getting into, and like I'm watching it currently right now. And it's a trashy show, man. It's a trashy show. But I live vicariously through these young people. And it's that show Too Hot to Handle. So the season ended, and I'm watching through some episodes. But like, that show is crazy. Like these people are young, depraved, not deprived, depraved people when it comes to like just intimacy and things like that. Like they're just all freaky and just all of them are DTF like all the time. And I guess like that's what life is like for a young 20-something-year-old person. But like looking at it as a grown man, it looks wild. It looks crazy. But what y'all think, man? Do y'all watch Too Hot to Handle? Go check out Worst Roommate Ever. You don't gotta watch Too Hot to Handle. You don't gotta watch that. That's not for everybody. But Worst Roommate Ever, go check that out. What do you think about this Big Sean, like what Big Sean revealed, man? And does that change your perception at all about Kendrick Lamar? How you feel about the Olympics? And is Kamala Harris black? I don't know. I say she's invited to the cookout. I mean, I feel like she got a black card, man. Like I can't be the one to take her black card. And is that shouldn't be the only reason why you vote for her, but do what you do. But what you think about this week, man? If you're still watching the channel, man, I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the content, leave a comment. This was episode 158. I'll be back here next week. We back, man. We keeping this thing rolling, man. We keeping this thing rolling. Recap and record. Our finale will be on Monday, Tuesday. Probably Tuesday it will drop. So check that out. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out the House of the Dragon season 2 finale on Sunday. That's gonna be must-see TV. We are a little bit disenchanted by how things have gone, but that's neither here nor there. We still gonna accept it and be along for the ride, man. But like, again, tell me what you think of the episode, and I'll be back for another episode, y'all. This is your boy Lox Death, and I'm out. Peace.